What's up everybody, we're back with another video. Now, in the last video I showed you, I'm pretty sure I showed you the feeding video of the 180. That was actually filmed a couple of weeks ago, more like a few months ago, like 6 weeks maybe, a month and a half essentially. And in that time I've gotten a new fish, 2 new fish, huge old story, so let me quickly explain what happened. In that video I had a 12-inch gar, and to be told, it was probably one of my favorite fish, just loved gars in general. But then unfortunately an incident occurred and he passed away. That incident being, somehow he managed to get caught up in that drain pipe and kind of block the whole system. So what happened was, one day I came in and the level of water in the tank was like down to about here, and I was completely confused. I'd just done a water change and I was assuming that I'd messed up here, so I looked inside and there was nothing. There was no food or anything that had gotten stuck, and I couldn't work it out. So I spent about an hour trying to work out what was going on, why my water level was low, why my filtration seemed to be slow, because even the return pipe, because at that point the water level was low enough that I could see the power of the water returning, and I could see that it wasn't particularly powerful. And I was very much thinking, what the heck is going on? Here's all my lovely fish. And this literally happened within 2 or 3 days of me getting the new Vieja. So I think what happened, essentially the gar managed to wind up in the pipe. He was pretty much wide enough to fit in the pipe, it was a very snug fit. But what my confusion was with, the pipe was very much close to the top of the tank, and a 12-inch fish is not easily going to be able to jump down that hole. Must have been that the Vieja, the Gourami and the Pacu were all fighting, and then one night he decided to jump. So as you can see, I've actually got another gar. I was really upset that I lost my gar, and honestly it was just so hard that I ended up pretty much going online and finding somebody selling gar, and I came across an ad that said that some guy was selling some gar in London, and I went ahead and I picked them up. They're both about 20 inches each, so they are quite big. They are the biggest fish in my tank at the moment. And yeah, I went there, I rushed in, I got the fish, I came back, I put them in the tank, and you know, ever since it's been quite good. But as you can notice, my tinfoil barbs are no longer in this tank. That's because these guys ate one of them, killed another one, and then I rescued the other 3 and I moved them into the 180 litre tank down below. And yeah, pretty much what's happening now is he's targeting the tinfoil barbs. Thankfully they've started to heal up, but there were like large gashes on their sides where they tried to be, where the gar had bitten them and all that stuff. And as you can see, their fins, the gar's fins, are getting nipped at by the Synspilum and the albino gourami. So they're getting picked on, which is annoying as well, because they're such lovely fish and it's just such a hassle keeping them. What I was going to do is, because they are quite big, I was going to get a pool pond to go here in this space. Pretty much it would cover just a bit of the door and all the way through here. I'd move these tanks out, I'd set the filtration, so basically the water would run through here, filter down into this tank, and then the water would drain out the bottom into the pool pond, and it would give them much more room to swim. The issue is that's quite expensive, and at the moment I don't really want to be spending that much money. I mean, eventually I'll have to, because the Arowana is going to get absolutely enormous, the Pacu is going to get enormous, even these giraffe-nosed catfish and the ripsaw catfish down there are going to get quite big, so I will eventually have to do that, but not just yet. So instead I've decided to move these guys and sell them on to somebody else who can care for them and give them a really good home. So I just wanted to show you guys these monsters that I've been keeping for about 2 months, a month and a half, that I haven't actually had a chance to film because I was going to do this whole, these are my monster fish, I'm going to move them into the monster pond, but obviously those plans have gone up because I saw an ad online for somebody looking for gar, and I messaged them, and they're essentially going to come and pick them up this evening. And yeah, So I'll pretty much come back to you guys once they've been taken away, and I'll show you the tank. Alright, and we're back, and as you can see, there are no gar. The water's a bit cloudy because when we were chasing the gar around, they did stir up some of the debris that had collected in these areas. And as you can see, the fish are a bit sulky at the moment because we did go ahead and disturb them. But yeah, so why did I decide to sell these fish? That is the question. Like I've said, gar are my favorite fish, and it really did suck to give them away. But at the same time, it didn't, because what would happen if I kept two 2-foot long gar in an aquarium that was 7 foot long by 2 foot deep? Is that they would just be so unhappy in this aquarium. They were attacking the barbs, like I've said. They didn't manage to kill them, but they did manage to kill one of my silver dollars. So again, they were a bit of a threat to my other fish, but they were also getting picked on by this guy, and this guy down here. And well, it just wasn't fair on them, so I decided let me give them a better home. Going back to what I said previously, I did have plans to go ahead and put a pool pond here, and I'll explain what exactly, how exactly that was going to work, but I'll do that when I actually go ahead and get the pool pond ready. Essentially, all I've done is I bought myself like another 6 months worth of time, because at the end of the day, the arowana is eventually, you know, looking at him now, I would say he's about 12 to 13 inches. The paku is almost a foot long. In fact, he might be a foot long now. And as you can see, like front on, he's also getting a lot wider as well. The giraffe-nosed catfish back here, that large one at the back, he's starting to put on some size, so is the smaller one. The albino gourami isn't getting too big too quickly, but all those fish I've just spoken about are going to get fairly big. You know, you're talking about 2.5 foot to 4 feet between them all. And this tank is nowhere near big enough for that, which is why I eventually will have to get a pool pond to, you know, house these fish. But all this does is it gives me like 6 months more time to work out exactly the logistics of how I'm going to do it, in terms of how I'm going to work the filtration, how I'm going to work on setting up the tanks, and all of that good stuff. But all in all, that didn't go too badly compared to what I thought was going to happen. You know, when you have two big fish and you're trying to move them around, it can get quite stressful for the fish and for the people involved, but it wasn't terrible. So at the end of the day, it was quite an easy transfer. I didn't film it just because I didn't want to record another person and, you know, have to ask them if it's okay to record them and all that stuff, so I decided not to do that. Plus, I'm really bad at catching fish, and I really didn't need you guys to be laughing at me when I'm trying to catch my gar. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It was a quick one. I kind of threw a lot of stuff your way, and I didn't really explain it properly, and I will eventually when it gets to that point where I need to explain it to you, so don't worry about that. Just know for now, the 180 is kind of how it's going to be for a while. I don't know if I'm going to be adding anything in soon, but definitely for now, it's perfect the way it is, and I can hopefully add my tinfoil barbs back. Keep on saying tinfoil barbs. Add my silver dollars back into this aquarium, as well as my several. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's video, and as always, make sure you're keeping safe. Peace out.